Hey Matt, I don't really like my taillight back here. You think you could do something about it?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a little bit basic. Give me just a second here.
All right.
Oh, that's what we do here.
What's up you guys, welcome back and welcome if you're new. In today's video I have my good friend Matt, the owner of Reimagined wraps, and for today's video we're going to be installing a brand new taillight that I did get from TacomaLifestyle. If you guys do end up wanting to go ahead and purchase it, it's going to be in the description box below. Before we jump into the video and show you guys kind of how it's done, I'm going to go ahead and let my friend introduce himself and just kind of a little background on what he does here.
Hey guys, my name is Matt. As Jesse stated, we're going to be replacing this taillight today. This is mainly a wrap shop and that's what we do most of the time, but we do a lot of installs as well. We do window tinting, wraps, ceramic coats, paint corrections, paint protection film. We do a little bit of everything here.
Let's get into the video. Before we get into the installation, I'm going to show you guys the taillight and the features and just kind of how it looks as to why I'm replacing it. So if you guys do see it back there, the stock factory one, that one's kind of like a clear look and it's just like a really basic red when you hit the brakes. This one right here, you're going to notice, I'm going to peel this off and you guys are going to see it's like blacked out. So this is actually going to match my tail lights that I do have on the truck. It's going to look super clean, especially when you turn it on. This thing has a blinking feature, which I'll show you guys later in the video once it's installed, and it's just going to look a lot cleaner. So in the back here, you're going to notice it has that switch. The off position is going to be just like your regular tail light on how it looks and how it works. And now if you do turn it on, it's going to give you that cool feature, which is kind of like a strobe light when you guys are hitting the brake. Like I had said, we'll show you guys later in the video when we do install it, but right now I'm going to go ahead and have Matt just kind of explain on the tools that we're going to be using.
So this install is a fairly basic install, a little bit time consuming but not hard by any means. You're only going to need a couple of real basic tools. So we have a pick. This is for the connector when we get in there. We're going to have a clip puller to pull a couple of the panels off that are on the interior, screwdriver just in case to help with prying some of the clips off on the clothes hangers and stuff in the back, basic ratchet, a couple of extensions to help fit the sockets, and a couple of sockets. I have a magnetic 10mm socket here which will help to not drop the bolts in there, but it's not 100% necessary. All right, so our first step to this process is to move the front seats forward a little bit, give us some access back here, and then you're going to fold up the back seats and fold the tops down, and this is where we're going to be sitting to be able to work. It just gives us a little bit more space up in the back. All right, so when it comes to actually removing this tail light, there's going to be two 10mm bolts in the back of the light here. However, the headliner is held on by these clips here, this handle, the seal that's right here, and also this panel that's here. So it doesn't matter exactly where you start, but what I'll usually do is start pulling off the handle. When you're pulling off this handle, you'll see these two small little cutouts in the sides of these little clips here. If you grab it with the pick and start pulling on it, you can see it disengages like that. So here's the little cutout I was talking about. You literally just go into that with the pick, of a 90-degree pick, and as you've seen, it'll want to go back in and that pops out. And then you can pull it out of there. And when you pull it out of there, you're gonna see inside of here that there's a tab on the top and a tab on the bottom. I'll usually get a screwdriver and start pulling and it'll disengage those tabs there. And then you just pull the handle out. Now once that handle is out, you need to make sure that you get these metal tabs out. However, it's going to act like a big spring, so when you pull this, you have to be careful and make sure that you're grabbing it firmly because it'll pop out and go into the vehicle, and it's really tough to get them out if they go inside the body of the car. So yeah, these are all the pieces to that handle there. Right, and then next we have these little clothes hanger clips here. Same exact concept. There's a little cutout in the side. You're just going to pull that out, and the same metal clips inside of there. So you're going to kind of just disengage it a little bit, give it some pressure, squeeze the clip, pull it on out of there, and then you can even put it back into this if you wanted. These actually pop back into the body if you put it all together first. This will just push into the body when you're ready to reinstall it. All right, so you can do it a couple ways. If you were to just pull here, you can get enough access. However, I don't like going that route because as you pull on this, you're gonna start creasing the headliner and things like that. Once this headliner is creased or damaged, it's permanent and they're not cheap. So I would prefer to just pull out the B-pillar usually. It's a little bit more work, but it's a safer route to go. Now here, this airbag cover comes out of there, believe it or not. If you look through this crack here, you can actually see the clips on the back side of this SRS cover. From the top end of it, you can actually get your finger back there and pop that clip out. And I don't like to go from the front and pry on it because it damages that plastic there. But once you remove that SRS cover, you can get your extension with the 10mm socket, get your ratchet, pull that 10 out of there. This is where that magnetic socket comes in handy, so you're not dropping bolts down on the side of the vehicle. But this thing is really cool. Now there's going to be a couple of clips holding this in place. You're going to pop these clips out. And then this piece is actually underneath this piece, which means this has to be partially removed as well. Doesn't have to be fully taken out of the truck. You just want to pop the clips off the top of it there, just enough to sneak this out of there. So there's one more clip in the body side. Pop that out, and then this will slip out of there. Now when you do this, the seat belt's obviously in the center of it there, so you just kind of put it somewhere where it's out of the way. We're going to be working right there, so I'm going to actually take this over and just set it down here out of the way. From this point, you can see that this headliner has a lot more space. It's a lot less likely to bend or do anything weird. Now, from that point, we're pretty much ready to go in through the back side and take the 10mm bolts off the light. So as you guys can see on this light, it has a stud on the two sides here, and these are where your 10mm nuts are going to be. This just sits into the back of the on the back of the roof there, and there's two cutouts on the inside of the roof here that the bolts are going to be in. Now when you're taking those the nuts out of the light here, if they fall into the roof, don't be alarmed. Once you pull this out, there's plenty of room to reach your hand in there and grab them, and that's pretty much what we're going to be getting started on next. All right guys, so this is what it looks like underneath the headliner. There's a hole here and a hole here. The screws are going to be coming from this side, so I pretty much got an extension, the smallest extension I could find, with the 10mm on the ratchet. And when you go up through here, you just got to feel around a little bit. It's tight, it's funky, and this one actually felt okay. So now that I'm on it, we're going to loosen it, and like I said, on this step, if you do drop the nut in there, it's nothing to be alarmed about. You can actually get it after the light's out. This one's going to drop, I can feel it, and that's fine. So now we're going to go to the other side, same thing. Okay, now both of the bolts are out. Now we're going to go onto the outside of the truck and pull that light off of there. From this point, the only other thing holding this light on are these two clips here, which are going to be located right on the top. There's nothing on the bottom. Sometimes you can actually just pull on this a little bit and it'll come off. Other times you actually have to disengage the clips. So we'll see how it goes right now. We'll give it a shot. So it doesn't feel very loose. I'm going to see if I can push it a little from the inside. Definitely not loose. So let me get a plastic clip puller so we can try to disengage those clips. All right, so I went ahead and got a long flat one. It's pretty skinny. You want it to be able to try to fit in between the light here. So I felt that one disengage there. There it goes. And then once it's loose, we should be able to start pulling this thing out of there. It has this like foam seal around it that likes to get stuck on there, so you can kind of get around it to break that seal too. We're lucky because this one's brand new. It has a new foam seal, so we'd pretty much just clean around the vehicle here. This one had a wrap on it, so it's going to be nice and clean when we pull it off. But you want to make sure the surface is clean. There's no dirt, no anything between it. Like I was saying previously, the nuts for that light are just sitting right here. Really easy to access, so it's not worth trying to fight and get them from the inside. Ready for the new light. This is also a really good angle to show you guys the holes that we're working through, and that's accessing straight to the back of the light. And then there's one connector here too. So we're back. We just got finished with wrapping this roof, which you guys can see in a separate video. Now we're ready to install this light again. Now one quick thing to mention and to remind you guys of is it does have a special illumination feature. This is a full LED tail light. So when you flip this little switch, you can either turn it off or on. We're gonna turn it on for Jesse, but it has that special feature, which we'll show you guys later. Now in terms of reinstallation, you're just gonna plug in the harness, which is just a single connector. Flip the switch on and reinstall it just the way we took it off. So the next step will be putting the nuts back on these studs here. We'll flip it into place. Make sure you hear those clips engage on the top and it's nice and flush. And I'm going to get back into the vehicle and start putting the nuts back on the back of the tail light. Just a quick heads up, we already went through the full install, and we noticed that on the switch, if you hit the little line, like the switch for the illumination, if you hit the line portion of it, it goes regular. If you hit the little circle, that's the actual illumination. I just wanted to let you guys know ahead of time because we did have to take it back apart to get it switched. Another quick tip, make sure you guys do a test on it just before you guys reinstall it, just to make sure. All right, now back to the video. All right guys, so this next step in terms of installing this light, it's probably the hardest step, the most complicated portion, and I found a couple tricks that seem to work. When you're putting the nuts onto that light, you're gonna have to put it onto the socket and you're gonna be going backwards in through that hole and just trying to find the stud. A lot of times what happens is it'll fall out and it'll fall back in the body, which means you gotta pull the light back off again and start over. There's two ways of going about this. The best way would be if you have like a clay bar or something sticky, grab like a little bit of it, put it on the back of the nut, And then when you put it into the socket, now it can't fall out. It's held in there good. Now, this isn't just something common you're just gonna have laying around the house. So another method that could work too, getting a piece of like blue painter's tape, put it on the back of the nut, and then if I can even get this out right now, that's how good this clay bar stuff works with this, but okay. Anyways, with the blue tape on there, that'll also hold it in place. And that's so you can get it inside of the roof, twist it without that nut falling off on you. And then once it twists on, it'll pull right off and you're good.
You're the man.
All right, guys, so this is what I was telling you guys about. I have that nut on the socket, and now I gotta pretty much feel around in here till I hit that stud. And usually you could feel it when you get onto there. I'm gonna add an extension to this socket to make it a little bit more to grab onto. And like I said, this is the most challenging part of this whole install. Without having, there it is, without having something to hold that nut into the socket, you're almost guaranteeing that it's gonna fall. So that's a good, really good tip for sure. I have a magnetic socket as well, but it doesn't allow you to go the full size of that stud. You can't push it all the way on, so it doesn't really work too well. Now that we got the one on, I'm gonna do the other side in a second here. There it is. It's pretty much tight. Let me make sure this one's tight.
Hey Matt, how you feeling?
A little cramped, but we're all good. Sweaty. It's a little warm in the shop today.
Sweaty man. Dripping. Why are you dripping?
You make me nervous.
Daddy.
So now we're all tight, and that third brake light is all installed. The next steps are just reinstalling everything on the interior of this vehicle, and it's good to go. For these little clothes hanger hooks, they're exactly the same left to right. You can swap them around, it doesn't matter. And as I previously stated, you can actually fully put it back together. So you put the little metal clip back into it, put the cover onto it, and push it. This cover actually has a small portion in here that pushes these out and hooks it in. So it is required that these are fully pushed in. Now, once they're together, they're ready to install. You push the headliner up, line it up with the hole, and just push. It's as easy as that. They just clip right in. Done. Now we're gonna work our way back over to this side. We can do the same thing with the handle. I like to put the handles and these hooks back in place first because it holds the headliner up so it's not fighting you while you're trying to put all this other stuff in. So these little metal clips, they go in from here, and when you push them in, you'll kind of see they like snap into place, and you can even grab it back here to make sure it goes all the way in place. And this one's on a spring, and that's what makes the handle go back up, so you have to hold that out, clip that in, and then same thing, just kind of wiggle it and you'll see it goes back into place. Then you can get the little covers. These are directional, so you'll see these. This is not the correct side for that one there. This one looks right, so we'll push that in. And when you push it, you'll see it like clips into place. If these are not going in correctly all the way, that means the metal clip wasn't fully in place. And those clipped right in. Then you come up to the handle position there, and you push it. You do have to put a decent amount of force there, and you can even pull on it to make sure that you're good. And that's installed and ready to go. At this point, we're gonna work toward getting these C-pillar trims back and installed. So first things you wanna do is double check that you have all 3 clips installed. Everything's good to go there. Line it all up. Now, there's 2 holes here, and there's 2 tabs on this bottom trim. So this, you have to kind of slide in there and line all those tabs up, and you're gonna connect those 2 first, and you'll hear those snap into place. Now, from this point, you gotta look from the side of it, and you're gonna see the holes, and you're gonna see the clips, and you wanna line those up. Now this can be a little bit challenging sometimes, and often the clip will fall out of the actual panel and fall into the side, so you have to retrieve it. So you want to try to be careful, make sure everything's lining up properly before you go and push on it. So I got one down here lined up, and just take your time with this step. You got to get them all aligned. And it's funky like this because you're not pulling this back part off. If you were to pull this off, it'll all just kind of go on straight, but we're doing a little work around here. There we go. Now all those, you just double check, push on it, good to go. Then you're gonna get your 10mm socket with the bolt for it. For this step, I'm gonna use my magnetic socket so it doesn't fall off. Get it started by hand so it doesn't cross thread. It's obviously a little bit faster as well than using the ratchet. And then get it nice and tight. Then this little cover just pops right back on. From there, the last step's gonna be your seal, and this seal just pushes on once you align it correctly. And in the corners there, sometimes it'll catch the headliner, so you'll pull it back, make sure that it goes under the headliner right there. It could be a little challenging. And then just push it all the way down. That's it for the installation portion of that. And we'll put these seats back up and it's good to go.
Now that it's fully installed, you're gonna notice it looks so much better. It's nice and blacked out. As far as for me, you guys know I like the blacked out look. So right now we're gonna go ahead and test out the bed light. And you guys are gonna notice it's a lot brighter than the factory one. So there it is, you guys. And we are gonna be showing you guys at night. So just so you get a better picture. Now let's go ahead and show you guys the cool feature when you do hit the brakes. So as you guys can tell, there is the strobe feature. It's gonna go ahead and strobe, and then once it's done strobing, it'll go ahead and just give it a solid red light. So much better over the factory one. I'd highly recommend it. Description box below if you guys do wanna get it. There it is one more time all together. Let's go ahead and make it flash. And there it is. All right, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that quick little install that we did for you guys. It was in depth, or at least we tried to do that for you guys. And I gotta give a big shout out to my friend Matt, the owner of Reimagined Wraps, for actually doing this install for me. So like I had said, if you guys do want any wraps or installs like that, you can always hit him up. His info is gonna be in the description box below, along with the link to this actual tail light. I'd recommend it. It looks way better than your actual factory one, and it's a lot brighter, which I hope you guys saw that clip at night. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Before I go though, this thing is DOT-SAE, so that means it's legal. See you guys. What's up, you guys? Welcome back, and welcome if you're new. What?
We're doing the, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we can change this?
Oh, for the, I
yeah,
guess.
no, that's gonna be the very first.
The very first.
And then after that, you're
we'll do the intro.
That's when you're like, oh,
Like the explanation for what we did?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I looking at you or am I looking at Matt?
You guys are talking to each other, so it's gonna be like, damn, man, this thing's kind of ugly. Like,
and then you were like, yeah.
I'll be like, it's a little basic.
And then Matt's gonna be like, oh yeah, I can fix that for you, and you'll do like a snap or like something funny to like be like, boom, it changed.
Hey Matt, wouldn't it be pretty cool to just change this out?
My bad. He smirked and it fucked me up. I was trying to be serious. He goes,
Why is that? As soon as I hit recording, I just lose it.
You held it together pretty good on that first one.
Alright, go.
Hey.
We're a bad combo, bro. We're a bad recording combo.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right, I'm ready.
Hey guys, my name is Matt. We do a lot of wraps and stuff here. Damn it, that's so gay. We do a lot of wraps here. I mean, we are a wrap shop, you know.
You could start with
JesseRizo is here for you. Is here for you. Na, like I said, it's super simple. Please feel free to subscribe.